Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner Football Fans podcast. This is supposed to be Tailgate Like a Champion, and it was, with our regular folks on it. Adrian from Twitter, with Adrian's Brew, Cooking the Competition with Tim Harless, and Tailgate Games with Dan Donnelly. And I want to apologize to you, the fans out there listening to us, and to our guests, and especially to Rufus Alexander. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, and we've got a podcast for you with Rufus on it, but it's a lot less than what we had anticipated having or that we actually did record. Rufus was gracious enough to agree to come on with us, came over to the house, and we recorded about 2 hours worth of great stuff. And during editing, our program crashed, our recording program crashed. It crashed actually once during the recording, but I was able to save everything, and it crashed during editing, and I lost almost everything. But like I said, I was able to salvage some of it, 40 minutes of it. So you get part of it. We lost all of Cooking the Competition, Tailgate Games. We've got part of Adrian's Brew. We lost a lot of the first part, where we talk about the offense and the defense and the running backs who are stepping up, past defenses and things like that. But we do got some great stories from Rufus that we were able to salvage. Again, our apologies, but we're going to get Rufus on again, hopefully here real soon, and we'll do it again with him. But enjoy what we were able to save for you. Hey, Sooner football fans. You got Terry, Rob, and Caleb. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
And
Boomer Rufus. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. There he is. Yeah, we didn't even get to announce him.
I was saying, you didn't say Boomer Rufus or something. I don't know.
Boomer Rufus.
It was coming.
I was feeling like kind of left out.
We were going to have a grand entrance for you. And it's true. The voice you hear is the All-American linebacker from 2006, Rufus Alexander.
Boomer.
Boomer Rufus.
Oh, Boomer.
I just got a high five from him. There you go.
You're ready to roll. I'm looking at this room. It's pretty nice.
Oh, well, thank you. It's
the Podcast Palace.
It's the Podcast Palace. Yeah, that's what we call it. You know, the Podcast Palace on the prairie.
Where's the Lincoln Riley
autograph
picture and all that stuff?
I got the Lincoln Riley autograph right over there on the hat with the Riley on it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got that a couple of weeks ago. So
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, working it up. You know, got my Steelers stuff in. No Browns, no Cowboys, nothing like that.
No need for no Cowboys.
He's got M&M stuff in here, though.
Yeah, I got M&M stuff. Weird. Like you don't eat M&Ms, Rob.
I don't know. The M&M thing is kind of, I don't know. A little weird with the Scooby-Doo thing, too.
Come on.
You're cartoon. Hey, I'm just saying. It's okay, though.
Those are the cartoon, the M&Ms is because, I'm fat and I eat M&Ms. Scooby-Doo is the greatest. It's the greatest movie ever, right, Caleb? The first one.
It's terrible, but the first one.
The first
the
one.
real one.
The real one.
The fake shadow.
Yeah.
Like had the real life human shadow and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. in it.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's the greatest. It was should have been nominated for an Emmy or Oscar. Sorry.
My stepmom bought it for my son, and it had all the crazy stuff in it, and he was kind of scared of it. She thought it was a cartoon, and it wasn't a cartoon.
It wasn't a cartoon. It was all real.
He kind of got freaked out on it.
But here's the cool thing, everybody, is Rufus agreed to come over, and we normally do a little spot with a Sooner, sharing Sooner memories, and we're going to do that, player memories. But he's going to do the whole podcast with us. So. This may be, we may be here still in the morning talking. It may be the longest podcast ever. So
let's kick ass.
But let's get into a few topics about Oklahoma, and then we're going to talk about everything from Oklahoma State, Boise State, all those other games. But
we got to talk about Texas too.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about Texas.
You talking about Texas? They won against Tulsa, didn't they?
Yeah,
barely. Listen, Tulsa should have won that game. Yeah. Tulsa dropped 2 touchdown passes in the end zone, or they win that game.
Am I crazy for saying Texas is going to win this weekend?
Yeah, you're crazy.
Well, Tom Herman breaks the people up for big games.
They're both terrible.
That's all he does.
I'm gonna go with Texas to upset you.
No.
I ain't even say.
I know the spread is that game. Even
I think Texas is back.
Yeah, back to losing. But anyway, last night we went out to the coaches show, as we always do on Tuesday night, and let's all give a big congratulations to Rob after 2 years.
Yeah.
Coach Riley finally answered one of Rob's questions. They finally read it and answered it after. Okay, we've had a little bit of difficulties, technical difficulties, but we got them all fixed. This is going to be a 2-part podcast, which is never a bad thing. But we still have Adrian on the Forest Witch on Adrian's Brew talking about her.
My favorite drinking buddy after this Army game.
Absolutely.
So you said earlier that Rufus was one of your favorite linebackers, or your very favorite linebacker.
Oh man. Okay, we're gonna go with very favorite because he's like sitting right there.
You got the Boz. You have all those guys.
seriously,
I'm
mean,
okay. I'm okay with being down the line. There's a lot of great linebackers that played.
Oh, you has had some greats, but yes, I loved watching you play.
Well, thank you.
So, do you have any questions you want to ask him, or a question? We've been giving the guys a question to talk to Rufus about anything.
But women get 2 or 3.
Yeah, women get 2 or 3. So there you go.
Oh, Lord. No. I mean, I guess I should probably have like some questions in mind, but I've never really been one of those. Oh, let me just ask this person a question kind of people.
Oh, and you've been drinking.
I guess maybe what was your best memory?
Man,
because I know you won Big 12 like Defensive Player of the Year once, right?
Yep, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
So besides that, what was your favorite memory? Because that had to be pretty big.
My favorite memory, I think my favorite memory was like the day I got dropped off at OU by my parents. It was tough sledding, but I mean, it all started with that one day. Just coming here in the summer and starting to get out there and play with and learn like who I was as a man and who I was as a person, and learn to meet different people and being all the way out of my element. I think that has to be one of my best memory, because I wouldn't have become who I am and being able to accomplish what I've accomplished without going through that first part of starting my career at OU and playing with a lot of really cool guys and guys I still consider friends to this day.
Well, that's really awesome. That's a great feeling. I mean, it really is. When you come to a brand new place anyway, it's always exciting and scary at the same time, but I can imagine that atmosphere and like that family feeling.
Yeah, it was.
It's probably pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I would agree with that. It was like I said, I got to meet Jason White and all those guys all at one time, and I got to work out with all those guys, and I saw I was not up to par, because when I got up there and offensive lineman and Dan Cody was running me, I'm way behind those guys, and they were touching the line and I was behind them, and I was like, holy crap, I have a lot of work to do, because those guys are like 6'6" and running them faster than I am, and I'm like 100 and something, 190, 200 pounds, and can't even keep up with those guys. So I knew I had a lot of work to do. So it was intimidating, but also just rewarding once I got to the point where I was faster than those guys and can able to do a lot of the same things that they can do.
That's cool. It is amazing when you step up from that high school level to a college level of anything, how much different it is. Like I found that out, like my band nerd self. not that it's the same at all, but when I went to U of H and I joined the jazz band there, I was like, oh, I don't know how to play the saxophone at all. These people are amazing.
No.
And I was there on scholarship.
I never look. Well, we had something else in common. I never played linebacker till I got to the University of Oklahoma. So I was like, well, hey, I got a scholarship, and I never played linebacker. So kudos to that.
Yeah, it's just it really humbles you a little.
What position did you
when
play?
You're like, oh, I don't know how to do any of this stuff I thought I did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, good. Hey, to learning new things. We'll have a beer and toast to that.
Absolutely, always. There's always a good reason for beer.
Okay, Adrian, what's your thoughts about the Cyclones?
Well, I was listening to your podcast with their podcast fan guy, and I unfortunately forgot his name. I was going to write it in my notebook because I was listening this morning while I was in the shower. But
Thomas.
Thomas, I was listening to him, and he, that was pretty insightful listening to him talk about, and I didn't even realize that their first game got kind of cut off. And then, I watched some of the highlights from Iowa State, and that game was kind of a hot mess.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like there should have been a whole lot of points on the board and nothing was happening. Like, I couldn't figure out why nobody could finish and close. So I feel like Iowa's probably going to be a little more prepared, but I really feel like OU is going to be really ready for this game. And I think our defense is right there, just got me really, really fooled. I think we're going to have some really good defense this week. And so I'm going to say that I think that we will definitely hold them way low in the points range, and I hope that we go out and score, tons of points. But I really think that they do have some potential there with their offense.
I think this is going to be
if they catch us sleeping in the safety position, it might be a problem.
I think it's going to be their first real challenge defensively.
It will be. It will definitely be different than UCLA and FAU.
Yeah.
So what's your point prediction?
I've got 63, and I'm going to give them 3 because I thought that man was so nice.
Jesus.
What's the score again? What's your score again?
63-3.
63-3.
And she's giving them 3 because Tom from their podcast was nice.
I was going to do 0.
There you go, Tom. Don't say she never gave you anything.
I told you I was coming for blood.
I think she's my spirit animal.
I was so mad about losing to them. It ruined my whole day. I was supposed to go to the beach after that, and then I spent my whole time at the beach being mad. I'm never mad at the beach.
It ruined my day, too.
Yeah, it was not a fun day. Caleb cussed at me all day, and because it was my fault, because I didn't go out on the patio to watch the game. I didn't do our rituals. So, I still hold true that I shouldn't need the rally patio for Iowa State. Shouldn't have to go out there.
You shouldn't need the rally patio, but I also let all that bad mojo into my house with those Austinites.
Yeah. So
should be able to play.
And you know what else happened? I didn't turn on my OU sign on time either.
Oh,
because
Lord.
she was here and I was playing with playing with her son.
So,
corrected.
Rufus, are you superstitious like with sports? Did you wear the same pair of socks?
No, I had whenever it came game day, I cut my hair every day and every game day.
Every game day, that was it. But
that was it.
That was it. See, Caleb and I, and it comes from me. I'm superstitious. I do, I believe everything I do in this house helps the team. Okay. I'm sorry.
We don't know you did that. I'm just going to give you a clue.
No. But Caleb hadn't put a backdrop on his phone. Okay, and a Sooner background, and he forgot to before the FAU game, and we won. So he was worried about putting a backdrop on it because we won. He didn't want to jinx the team. So Friday he was sitting there going, I don't know, Dad. I don't know. Should I do it? And I was like, no, you haven't done it. Don't do it. Well, he finally comes walking into the kitchen and he goes, I went ahead and did it. It was Rodney Anderson.
The horror.
So
that poor child, is he okay?
No, he's
tore his ACL. He's out for the season.
Yeah, but I mean, Caleb's pretty torn about it. He was like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
He goes, "I feel bad."
I'm pretty sure this is a mental illness.
I was so brokenhearted over the whole Rodney Anderson thing. Of course, I go like mom mode when these kids get hurt.
Oh Lord!
And I just get all like sad. I'm like, oh God, no!
But
Your poor mom.
we found out last night at the coaches show that Lincoln's superstitious too, right, Rob?
Oh yeah, you finally got a question asked. Did you have someone else write that for you, or what?
Oh, did you hear what she said? She asked if somebody else wrote it for you.
Oh. It was all mine.
The Forest Wish strikes again.
It was all mine.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes I'm mean when I drink.
But no, he changed his shirt at halftime because he was pissed off. He was mad about how they were playing. They'd missed that fourth down conversion, and he said I had to get a change. And he said, so I changed shirts.
Are you sure that I mean, he wasn't just pitting.
Somebody asked him why he changed shirts, and that's why he said he changed shirts. So I'm going to stick
there
with
you
that.
go.
So anyway, okay. Well, Adrian, we sure appreciate it once again.
And the vote of confidence that you gave me there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're going to win 63-3.
63-3, only because Tom's nice.
That's right.
Those 3 points are dedicated to Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, as a whole, Iowa is my actual least favorite state. So, and that was before we lost to them.
Okay.
So
There's nothing in that. There's nothing in Iowa, so you're okay.
Is there a particular reason why it's your least favorite?
yes, I was driving through there one time going to North Dakota, and I hit a turkey.
And you what?
Hit a turkey.
I hit a turkey.
Well, I got a ticket in that place, and there's always a cop somewhere in the dang little. They're
Yes,
in pot of
and
blue
then-
cars.
There's nothing.
Yeah, you're just driving. I mean, it's a state trooper in a powder blue state trooper car.
Really?
Yeah.
Rob got a ticket in the middle of the desert in Arizona.
How?
Yeah, Rob.
Well, when
Like
you're going
the speed
97
limit's
or
like
whatever.
85 anyway.
No, it's
No,
not.
they had those safety corridors, and he was speeding through the safety
okay,
corridor.
okay.
75, 97 into 75.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Just mail them your check.
It was pretty steep, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we got your prediction wrote down. We'll let Tom know that you liked him and that you gave him 3 points because of
All right.
that. Okay, and
All right.
we will talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Adrian.
Okay, so we finished up there with Adrian. Rufus, what do you think about our little tailgate show there? Do we give people a little taste of some food, beer?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I mean, you get a whole little food thing, and you get you get food, you get the drink, you get a tailgate guy that gets to go to different places and stuff. That's really unique. You get a lot of different things.
Yeah, and Dan said, if you get him your information, he'll hook you up. He goes everywhere.
I know that sounds like something that'd be fun to do. I mean, that'd be fun to do whenever, like I said, I'm done and retired. Go all these different crazy places and stuff. There's a lot of bucket games that I want to go and see. There's a lot of cool games that's out there. A lot of cool traditions.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, not that we should we, Rob? But because he never comes on the podcast, but we're gonna let Caleb kind of take over here for a minute and see if he wanted to talk some defense with you.
Let's
So
do it. I'm
get
all
on it,
about
Caleb.
it. I'm all
I
about
just
it.
want to know, like, linebacker wise. I think that's most noticeable for me the last few games is that the linebackers, how they played so far the first 2 games. It's just actually being in the right places, the right times last year. Like last year, they got a lot of tackles, but they were placed a lot. Like those first 2 games, it looks like Murray's been in the right place. What's the other linebacker? Bolton's been
Curtis Bolton.
killing it out there. What's the biggest difference you see this year that you did last year compared with the linebackers?
Well, now you have a defensive line that kind of holds point. The worst thing for a linebacker is that everybody up front gets single block. And here in these first few games, guys are not being single block. You have to double team the nose. You have to get on. You have to worry about the outside guy, Rodney Perkins, Kenneth Mann, guys like that. So if you have to worry about getting another body on those guys, you can't worry about the linebacker so much. You have to have somebody where that demands a double team. Your nose tackle has to demand a double team, and Neville Gallimore has shown that he's worthy of one, and therefore that's why you see Kenneth Murray in the right place and Curtis Bolton in situations where he's running downhill and hitting stuff in the backfields because you have guys out there playing their positions and they're better up front.
That's just my biggest difference this year. It's just the linebacker and the defensive line. The whole defense period has just been.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe the competition's not as good, but still, it's just them actually just lining up right. And being
The
right
first
spots.
couple of games last year,
I mean, yeah,
they wasn't that good. The competition wasn't that good,
Well,
and they
Ohio
didn't
State,
look
but
as
they still
good.
get-
But hold on, you play
Ohio
against,
State.
but you play against Tulane and you play against UTEP, and you're still in a good game against those guys, and they're getting yards. I mean, Tulane had over 100 some yards rushing
Yeah.
last year. I mean, and Tulane should not be getting 100 some yards rushing on you, and that shows how weak they were and how undisciplined they were up front, and they didn't have the type of players they needed up front. And I think Neville Gallimore played out of place last year. They had him playing that defensive end spot, and he just wasn't that caliber of player. Kenneth Mann was young last year. Also, who else he had that was there last year that played on the defensive line?
Lampkin.
Yeah, you had Obo that was on the
Lampkin, did you say?
you had Obo, you had Lampkin. Lampkin was a head case. I mean, one game he would play good, the next game he just wouldn't give you what you needed at a defensive lineman situation. I mean, you had Marquise Overton, you had Tyrese Lott. Those guys were all young guys. Overton, I think, was the brightest spot last year, and this year he's behind Neville Gallimore and those other guys. So you had Obo was strictly more of a rusher, not a really big run guy. So what was the other one? You had was it DJ Ward was the other guy that was on the side too, and he wasn't really a big guy. He wasn't an explosive guy. So you kind of look at how they kind of managed with those guys. It was kind of a you'd see why they had struggles in the run game and stopping the run.
I think what I liked is this defense last year, the back from Florida Atlantic, they'd give up 200 yards rushing to him.
Yeah, they would have missed some tackles on the outside, and he would have turned the corner on those guys for sure.
Yeah,
I think the pursuit was really good. I mean, he broke some tackles, but the pursuit was really good against him.
He ran over 100, but the ones held him under, I think.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't think he got over 100.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah,
No, he didn't get over 100.
100 yards so far this year.
Yeah, no, he don't have 100 yards yet.
Nice.
But
He got out in the second half. They didn't want to hurt him either.
We got another test this week with Montgomery at the Iowa State. I mean, he struggled last week, but I mean, like with the new quarterback, I mean, he's winning their whole option probably this week.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where I think you guys come up in there and they play a little bit better, and I think they're tackling better. I think they'll put them in holes where he gives them one spot to go, and you make a tackle there, and there's somebody out there to make a tackle on the outside. It just put him in too much space last year by himself with one guy there to tackle him, and he just make one guy move, and he's off to the races. Well, the way to stop a good running back like that is to have good pursuit and have 3 or 4 guys around there to make tackles whenever you break one, and then you beat him by beating him down. So by the time he gets to the third quarter, I mean, he's then took so many dang shots. The first guy that gets there, he don't have all that energy to try to spin and juke out of all those tackles.
So here, let's get into, because I know you got to go, but I wanted to get a couple of Sooner stories out of you, or
right.
Sooner questions. Okay. Number one, you played for both. Did you play for Venables and Stoops, or was Stoops?
Yes, I did for both.
Okay. Who was loudest? Which one of them's the craziest?
They were equally as crazy and equally as loud. There's no breaking those two apart. They fed off of each other, their energy. I mean, it's like one can get mad about a play and they chewing you out about it, and then that same play comes up again on video and they're like as mad again as being in the same one. So Coach Venables will chew you out about it, and then here comes Mike come into it and chimes in some more and really just hammers down on you. So you go from being like up here and you get chewed out, and then you just all the way beat down by the end of it. So yeah, I would say that they're equally as loud, but Coach Venables would drink a 5-hour energy.
Oh God!
Hold on, no, this is not it. It'll be a Red Bull 5-hour energy and a Spark, a Navicare Spark in a cup, mixed up together with a little bit of Gatorade to kind of soften it up before practice.
How does his heart not explode?
It would be 900 miles an hour ready to go. I mean, the guy would have like white spit that would be in the corner of his mouth. It was insane.
I used to see him in Home Depot all the time, and he walked faster than any human I ever seen. At least in Home Depot did. He just walked in that.
He's walking. He'd be rocking. He's staying in one place. He's rocking back and forth. He's looking what he needs to look at. Just rocking back and forth. That's him all day long. You can see him like that in game mode. He's just pacing and walking and moving back and forth. I love the guy. He's an unbelievable coach and taught me so much about the game.
What was the worst ass chewing you got from one? What was the mistake you made? Or
oh man, Worst ass chewing. Oh man, the worst ass chewing I got was I was a true freshman and I plagiarized the paper in school. I got the ass chewing of a lifetime. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, I just like like the last minute. I was just just starting college. I was like, man, I can go do this paper. I had study hall practice and all that. I was tired and I plagiarized, and Coach Venables, I mean, he chewed me up and down. I ain't gonna forget that one.
You never did it again either.
My high school coach was in town and he chewed me up and down, and he went to I saw my high school coach coming and I knew he was gonna tell him, so I just walked off. Did you hear what that idiot did? He was like, no, that idiot plagiarized. He's got to go before the board of the dean of students and yada, yada, yada. And I just walked off.
You probably ran, right?
So, yeah.
So it wasn't a football. It was,
academics, man.
Academics.
Academics, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing, I guess, that they, that they were looking at that. And like Rob said, you never did it again, did you?
Never did it again. No.
So
Never did that again. Kind of went ahead and read the books.
My favorite player growing up is Adrian Pearson. And you got the same class as him, right? Adrian Pearson? Or were you? So was his stories in the locker room that crazy as a true freshman? Was he actually like that strong and that freakish?
Yeah, he was.
As a true freshman?
He was. I remember his first day working out with everybody, and we were out there running sprints. We did the workout and all that stuff, and we were pretty much running. We're dead tired, and he's running full speed, done. He's all that. He's like, "That's it. That's all y'all got. That's all y'all got." It's like, oh crap, who is that guy? Shut up. That's all they got. That's all we need. I'm ready to go home. I'm trying to feel my legs tomorrow. But yeah, he was that type of guy. I mean, he was a freak of nature, and he was every bit as advertised in the papers.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, what we've tried to do also with all the Sooners that have been in here, or not in here, you're the first one to come to the podcast palace, as we like to call it. But we always wanted to talk about at least one of the games, a big game or something that year. And I pulled up the 2006 year.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's back, we had
Which game is that?
We had PJ Mills on last week, and we were talking about the game that almost gave me my first heart attack. I've never had a heart attack, but
which game are you going to go with?
Well, there was two of them that stand out, and I'll let you pick: the Oregon fiasco, or the Boise State.
Oh,
no.
Man.
Why
2 losses?
Well,
we played against Vince Young and shut Texas out the first time in a long time. That was like 12-0.
Yeah.
Vince Young's considered one of the greatest quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
Vince
Young, I mean, it's just like, but okay, anyway, I will go ahead. I'll take,
well, I will say this about the Boise State. I just because I wanted to say
I'll
this.
take the Boise State one for.
I watched it when it happened when it happened live, and I don't know if Caleb can remember it, but you were about the only guy. Well, I think you were the only guy on the defense that saw what was happening.
That's not true.
Because if y'all go back and watch that, did you have the running back on that play? Because you shadowed across to the left. Yeah. And you saw him get the ball. I mean, you saw him go the other way because you watch it. You're boom, and you just didn't have the angle, and they blocked the backside. And
oh well, okay, that game. Oh, I mean, one, we were pissed. We were playing against Boise State. 2, it's freaking Boise State. Like, who the hell gets up to play against the potato people? 3, I mean, then we're breaking in Adrian Peterson, who hadn't played since week 4 or 5 because he broke his collarbone against Iowa State. We were out of rhythm in offense. Malcolm Kelly gets a knee injury in camp, so he doesn't play in that game. So Paul Thompson's like he's throwing the ball to 6'5". Malcolm Kelly, when he's throwing it to 6 foot, Emmanuel. Who was it? I forgot who was it. It was I think it was Emmanuel. No, it wasn't Emmanuel Johnson. It was the other kid. I forgot his name.
I think it was
Joaquin Iglesias.
okay.
Oh yeah.
It was he's throwing the ball to Joaquin, so every ball was high. And we spotted him 21 points to start that game. It seems like we spotted him 21, but It was a fun game. Like I said, the Ian Johnson guy, I thought he wasn't a very good running back. I told him he was trash a few times when he was out there. I took the ball from him one time on the sidelines and told him, I told you were garbage. But we went in, we had the Statue of Liberty that were, what they ran for? They ran the hook and ladder first.
Yeah, the hook and ladder.
I slipped on that one, and the field in Arizona was absolute crap. I mean, everybody was falling and slipping all over the place. They had a halfback pass that happened, and then on the last infamous play, Larry Birdine, Lindsey Holmes were the two edge guys, and I was the middle guy. Zach Latimer was the other guy on the other side, split that way. And it was Trips right, had a tight end on the left, so it was Trips right. It was Pro Trips, so that three. It was like, it was Trips right. They had three receivers to the right, one had a tight end on the left, and Lindy Holmes was the outside cornerback. Larry Birdine was in a 7 between the tight end and the tackle, and Carl Pennington was a nose, I believe, or he was at a 3. No, he was at a nose because he's a nose guard, and I was in the B gap. Yep, I was in the B gap. And then when the play happened, I froze a little bit. Carl Pennington got hooked by the center. Larry Birdine got hooked by the tight end and center, by a tight end tackle, and I think the guard almost dang near got Larry Birdine. That's how far inside he jumped. Lindy Holmes was on the other side. He stepped in, and the tight end hooked him. Instead, he'd go outside with the tight end step because they all looked at the quarterback faking this way, and that's why I stopped. And then I went the way of the ball. So that's kind of how it went. The action went bubble, and we actually saw that play against when they played against Wyoming. They did that play. Yeah. And Coach Venables, I remember we winding it over and over and over and over again where he faked it and did it. Yeah. And so it was kind of one of those things. I mean, the play, I can just picture it just like it was yesterday, and I can tell you where guys were and all that stuff. But
but it's fun. I hate to bring up that bad deal, but, I always, when it relates to something that I can relate to, because, I only played high school ball, and I played defensive tackle, and we were playing Broken Bow for our conference championship to go to the playoffs. Back then, it was conference champions that went to the playoffs in high school ball. So they had the old Fumblerooski, okay? Guard picks it up, and we worked on that 1,000 times. And I'll never forget the play because the recognition was the tackle was going to pull to my left. He's going to take a big step to my left to make me pull out that way, and that was where the hole. They weren't going to block me. They were just going to make me move out.
Almost kind of trap you a little bit.
Yeah. And I will never forget when I took that step out with him, I could see it out of the corner of my eye, that guy picking up the ball, and I was reaching. I was trying to get back, and you could see it in the film too. I was reaching, just grab. No! It was a 14-7 game. We were leading. They got down and scored on that, and we ended up getting beat 38-14. And that was the play that turned it. I mean, that just gave them all the momentum.
But I mean, like I said, you go back to it, and football is one of those things where you kind of you got to play by your rules and what you're taught. And that's one of the things that we were taught. You do what you do what you can do. You do your job. And in that game, none of those guys that was on that side of the ball was going to make a play over there on that side.
Right.
And if everybody did what they're supposed to do, so that means that guy that's right here, even if Birdine would go up and when he read his key and go up into the tight end when the tight end steps out, that takes him and keeps him outside with the tackle and all that stuff. But he false steps, and the tackle and guy, they both hook him. Right. And it happened like instantly. So he didn't move right. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that happened in that game, guys just try to do something. And they say, don't try to be a hero in the game. And I think, it's our natural instinct. We want to be the hero that go and make the game-winning tackle. And I think Lindy Holmes could have made it a game-stopping tackle and been a hero in that game.
Well, you were an All-American in 2006. So, and I got your numbers for 2006. You were Oklahoma's 142nd All-American, which is pretty cool.
142nd?
Yeah.
Man, 142. Hey. Perfect. I like it. I didn't know that.
You led this.
license plate that had
Yeah.
142 on it, too.
Not 142 ranked. Just
You're the 142nd one.
Yeah.
You led the Sooners in tackles with 118, 75 solos, 12 for loss.
75 solos, man, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
3.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception that year.
There's something behind that solo tackles thing, though.
Okay, what was the?
See, to get a solo tackle for me, because I didn't like being on the bottom of a pile.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why every time I would tackle somebody, I would jump up because I didn't want to get friendly fire. Friendly fire is the worst thing ever in football.
Yeah,
Other
guys
you
coming in
football
pop.
guys in here, you would know friendly fire is the worst thing. And so that's why whenever I tackle somebody, I get them on the ground fast and I jump up because, hey, look, don't come diving at the pile and hitting me because I don't want to be knocked out or concussed by anybody.
On accident.
Yeah, so that 75 tackles solo, they were solo because I was up and jumping. I got him. Get your butt over here.
So, Caleb, you act like you want to ask him one more, but I think he's got to go.
No, he's fine.
It's this is one that's not personal with us because Zach messed with me because my favorite player is Pearson.
Oh, God.
And who's the better running back? Samaje Perine or
come
Adrian
on.
Pearson?
Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Because their logic is look at the numbers. The numbers dictate.
I mean, the
that-
numbers, but
yeah.
hold on, man. The numbers does not
Okay.
dictate.
Okay.
The numbers you have there, but Adrian Peterson didn't play almost his whole junior season with a collarbone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Okay,
I mean,
well,
and he got an ankle injury the other year. when
me
he
and
was
Rob
in
got
Nebraska.
to. We got to let us explain ourselves. Okay.
Okay, please explain.
When
Please do.
we have this discussion, we're at Buffalo Wild Wings. We go to Buffalo Wild Wings here in Norman every Thursday night. Okay, for chicken and beer. Caleb pre-games with our neighbor.
This is
And-
even before that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Sounds naughty, by the way.
yeah, but anyway,
Just saying.
but anyway, when Caleb gets a little bit of beer in him, he gets argumentative, and so we would just, we know his favorite, running back or player was
We know his
Peterson,
buttons to push.
and so we just push his buttons. And when Caleb's had about, I don't know, had enough beer in him, he is hilarious because he
You
gets
can't understand him.
You can't, because he talks in one word sentences. He'll be like, best one.
It was,
Yeah.
but
So that's our pick on Caleb.
So a better one to go at him with is DeMarco Murray because DeMarco Murray, Adrian Peterson is two of the ones that are just
I like DeMarco.
hard to go pick one or the other, and I give DeMarco more on just the catches that he would catch out of the backfield and in the open field because he had better hands.
Now,
but,
have you ever met Marcus Dupree? Have you?
yeah,
ever?
I have.
Did you ever see? Did you see his 30 for 30 and all
Yeah, I
that
saw it.
stuff? See, that was back in our day. If that guy would have stayed healthy and stayed at OU,
I say stay healthy. He
Stay
got
healthy.
knocked out one game and he was just gone.
yeah.
I see. Like my three is
I mean, after the Texas game, he was just kind of a different guy.
the
But-
guy best I've seen though was Pearson, Murray. I think Mixon's really close up there too because he can do everything too. Mixon was a beast out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are three people I've seen the most that can do everything. And they were just monsters. It can.
Yeah, Joe Mixon's going to be really special in the NFL, I
Well,
think.
in your
And-
defense,
Huh?
you never got to see Billy Sims run.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Billy
Little
Sims,
Joe
right.
run.
Little Joe.
Yeah, Little Joe's
Very
really
good.
good. I've
Great
seen a lot of
back
film
pass.
on Little Joe Washington. I mean, Bob did a great job of showing us a lot of film of old guys. I mean,
Yeah.
we watched the video of you hear the little song, I Hear the Earth
Yeah.
Move. That's Joe Washington's ones. I mean, he's just unbelievable with the moves he made on the field.
Yeah.
And I talk to Joe Washington all the time, and he's amazing. He's an amazing running back.
Yeah, and it's a shame that back then if you weren't on you weren't on TV.
And it was in trouble too.
Yeah, they didn't get to play in the postseason and stuff. But had anybody seen him play,
He'd be a Heisman Trophy.
he'd have been a Heisman. Nobody saw him play those years because Oklahoma wasn't on TV.
If Pearson stayed healthy, he would have been Heisman Trophy winner too.
Yeah,
Collarbone year.
Yeah,
That was the year he was going to win it. I think that's when Sue won. Or is that when Sue won?
No, Dominic Sue. Who?
He
You
didn't
talking
win,
about
but was he
Dominic Sue?
nominated? Was he nominated? Was that he didn't play with that same year, did he?
No, he didn't play with him that year.
Who was it? Oh, like I know if you stayed healthy, like Pearson was a favorite. He was going off all year that year too. So I mean,
Yeah, he was. He was
broke his
ready to go.
collarbone.
We was gonna be pretty good that year. That was the year Bomar got kicked off, and we was gonna be really, really good that year. Bomar doesn't get kicked off. I think we in the national championship that year.
that Oregon game.
I
was
think
crazy.
Troy Smith's the one that won it that year. If for Ohio State.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I got,
But
I got an okay memory.
it's from getting up, not getting friendly
like
fired on.
Yeah.
Well, Rufus, hey man, it has been a pleasure and honor and all that for you to come and take time out just to sit with some fans and.
I appreciate it. I know
talk.
my wife is texting me and stuff and saying, hey, you need to get home, bring pizza, but I'm just trying to slow play it as much as I can.
But you're welcome here anytime. I can message you if you want. Maybe some other time come back and do it again.
Hey, sure, man. I mean, my Twitter, if I'll get back to you. I'll text you back my number.
Okay.
Just get busy in the day or whatever. But man, I love talking football. Love sitting down with Sooner fans and just shooting the crap and talking about the old times.
And like we said, the Army tailgate is going to be right there next to where you're going to be working at. So
right, and I mean, I tell people all the time, you'll never learn about the past if you don't talk to people that's been in the past and lived it. I mean, football was different then, and it was different when I was there, and it's different a little bit now. So you tie you tie all of them together. I mean, it's always going to be fun talking and saying what I did back and what I saw whenever I was there. So that's what I love about talking football with different generations and stuff. Well,
again, we appreciate it. That's the podcast, guys. So Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
Boomer Rufus.